in the ramble today. Will Illiman sign a new deal? Clubs interested in Georgie Baldock? Keep your hands off. Clubs are monitoring our out-of-contract players. A little bit of takeover news. And BladesRamble.com. What is happening, Blades? It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've got together. That's mainly for two reasons. First one was, I'm not going to post content if there's nothing to talk about and just make videos for the sake of it. That's not what we're here to do. But I do need my ramble fix. So even though it's been relatively quiet, we have still got a few bits we want to touch on today, which is great. And the other thing we'll come to a little bit later on, because I've been working on it for like 3-4 days solid, and it's a work in progress, but we'll get to that. So the first bit of news, Illiman. James Shield in the Star posted an article suggesting that Eki had pleaded with the board to offer Illiman a new deal. And this new deal would be for a minimum of a further 12 months, but have a really generous release clause in it, whether we'd be relegated or even just so we can recoup something at the end of this season or this coming season. I remember I mooted something similar a couple of months ago maybe, that I would like to see this happen. I know other people I've spoken to have said it makes perfect sense for all parties. He gets a huge wage rise. If you knew what wages Illiman were on, you'd be absolutely stunned. And you can find that information at BladesRamble.com. But we'll come to that later. So Illiman is well overdue a pay rise, and a bumper pay rise. What I do now is manage your expectations. And I don't want you to feel like I'm being negative by projecting this, but because this is just my opinion, but I have had it from good sources. I know Darren Smith is on this wavelength as well. Illiman and I will not sign a new contract with Sheffield United under any circumstances, and I don't blame him. He doesn't owe us anything. If it wasn't for Illiman, we wouldn't have been promoted. There's no doubt about that in my mind. He's been worth at least 10 points to us this season, if not more. So I don't begrudge him seeing out his contract and getting a huge payday at the end of it. But he will not sign with us, because why would he? Why would he? He would be signing away a £20 million signing on fee instead of it going to we've talked about it before, instead of it going to Sheffield United in a minimum fee release clause in a decent contract. It'd go straight in Illiman's back pocket with his agent getting 10%, no doubt. So it makes no sense for him to do that. Why would he tie himself to a club that, let's be right, at least best case scenario for us, and I know we had that season where we finished 9th, but if we're all being realistic, best case scenario for us over the next 3 to 5 years is just survival in the Premier League. So he is destined for a top 6 club. And it's rumoured that Everton and Spurs are interested again. And that's where these rumours have circulated from, that we need to tie him down. We're not going to be able to. Listen, I would be more than happy to eat my words. If it comes out this week, next week, that he's signed a new 3-year deal and he's become our highest ever paid player, he's now on 80 grand a week or whatever it is, he's worth it. He's worth it to us. He's worth it for the investment we're making, because when we eventually sell him, if we were on a contract like that, we could command 40 million for him once he's proven himself in Prem. I just don't think it's going to happen. So what I don't want is people... It annoys me a little bit, and I have to be balanced with this, because I get a lot of my information from our local reporters who do a great job. But when it's dry in the news and there's not much happening, you tend to find that they pick up a little bit, and this isn't everybody, and I'm not naming individuals, but I see it in quite a few places where they'll pick up a little bit of something, a little bit of a rumour they might have heard, and run with it. Well, we've been trying to get Illiman to sign a new contract for 12, 18 months, and it hasn't worked thus far. We'd offer him, I'm sure, listen, I would be happy to offer up half of our budget, give him a £10 million signing on fee to get a 3-year contract out of him. That is how much I want him to stay. We've got to be realistic. It's not happening. It is not happening. So, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, and I will love it, Kevin Keegan style. Love it. Love it. Love it. If he signed a new deal. So, prove me wrong, Illiman. You're more than welcome, Starboy, to stay. But when you don't and when you leave, it'll be with our blessing. In other news that does hold a bit of credence. Georgie Baldock, my favourite player, is being linked to a move away. Now, this is a bit of a controversial one because we all know how brilliant George is, and I think more and more people are coming round to how brilliant he is. In our fan base even, he's been here, 6-7 years? For me, now that Billy's gone, and Bash is still here, I appreciate that, but on the field, he is everything that epitomises Sheffield United. And I know Egan's there, and he'll likely be our new club captain, but George Baldock could easily fill those shoes of a club captain. To me, he's a blade through and through. He's in the Bash category as an adopted blade. And I don't often disagree with Darren, but Darren, and I'm calling you out here, Darren, for this, I wasn't happy to read it, is saying if one of these Greek super clubs like are rumoured to be interested in him because of his outstanding international performances, if an Olympiakos comes in and offers him European football and obviously a life out in the sun, bit of Champions League football as well, they pay on a similar scale to us, but obviously the bonus incentives outweigh what we could offer him. Now, he's saying we should cash in on that if we get a decent offer for George. For me...
No, you can't! Well, there's no need for that!
You don't cash in on George Baldock. He's our best right wing back, by a stretch at the moment, if we're honest. I know we've got Jayden Bogle there as a fantastic alternative. Didn't have his best season last year, but we can't lose George Baldock. I wouldn't take anything for George Baldock. I wouldn't, unless they're coming in with 15 plus for a nearly 31-year-old. I don't think we even entertain it. If we'd have stayed down and we're in financial difficulty, I know it appears as though we are now because we've got such a small budget, but we've actually cleared all the decks and we're looking very healthy now. It's just the transfer budget that's appalling. But if we'd have stayed down in the Championship, we'd have sold George. We'd have sold Illiman, we'd have sold Sander, we'd sell George because we've got a backup for him. Egan might be talked about as being replaced. Darren's argument is Baldock is at the peak of his value now. He's never going to be worth more than he is now, and that's a more than valid point. Because of the way we run ourselves as a club now, we've changed to a sustainable club model, which means we buy low, sell high. So the theory behind Illiman and Dye would be that we get him through the academy at an early age, which we did from Boreham Wood, and bought him at 18, 19. But we're looking at even younger than that going forward. 14, 15, 16 after the elite academies. Groom him into the first team, which we've done. Make him a standout player if they can attain that level, which he has done. And the model that we're going with would now be, if Illiman's still got 2 or 3 years left to run, he might give us a year in Prem and then we sell him for big money. That's the model. Players like George Baldock, John Egan even would fall into a similar category if he were attracting interest. They're only going to depreciate now in value. You look at players like John Fleck, who were once rumoured with like a £4 or £5 million move to West Ham. We now wouldn't get anything for him. Bash wouldn't go for anything really now, although 2-3 seasons ago he'd have commanded a good fee. Ender Stevens we've just released. So we've, rather than capitalise on the value of these players in terms of monetary value, we have utilised their skills and abilities on the pitch and retained them for ourselves, but the assets then declined in value. So the new model of the club is to sell the asset when it gets close to peak value. I don't agree with selling George Baldock. He's a first teamer. How much are you going to have to pay to replace a player of George Baldock's quality? Got a strong academy coming through. Young Sachi Longthrow is on his way through. But I think we've got another couple of years out of Baldock, and I don't think he'll go anywhere, if I'm honest. I hope not anyway. Come on, Georgie, stay with us, please. Speaking of players who might be going somewhere, though, clubs are said to be monitoring our out-of-contract players who we're renegotiating with. So coming up soon, they'll all be free agents. That includes the ones we know about: Flecky, Osborne, Jackie Longthrow, and also Wes. I thought we had an option on Wes. Apparently not. Or we may well do, and we're choosing to renegotiate instead. Jackie Longthrow was said to have offered a modest pay rise, which, depending on how much it is, may be seen as a bit of a slap in the face because he's probably had his best season for his last year. In usual circumstances, it wouldn't hugely concern me that contract negotiations aren't progressing well, because I think they're all championship players. And that sounds harsh, but none of them have ever proven themselves at Premier League. John Fleck had a bit of a purple patch when he was more in his prime. Jack Robinson got found out last time at this level. Wes has never been tested at this level. Ozzy was a utility player in the Championship. Having said that, we need a squad. So if these four go, then obviously left centre-back was always a priority anyway. I think Jack Robinson will recognise that he will have a fight on his hands to remain a first-teamer. But Wes might have got a chance under Eke. Now, I think we should have been going for a new goalkeeper, but the low budget will only stretch so far. If we can't get Wes to sign a new deal, or whatever's happening with his contract situation, obviously we've got Adam Davis, who's definitely a backup keeper, certainly in the Premier League. And then we've got two young lads, Amissa and Dewhurst. We need a first-team keeper if we're going to stay, if Wes isn't going to stay. So it's just another really important position that we need to nail down. Part of me is happy about it, if I'm honest, because I think we need an upgrade in that area. And if it's recognised that Wes isn't going to renew, then we can certainly go younger. Michael Cooper. A very quick one about potential takeovers. It's another one really where it's a lot of paper talk and not much substance to it. So there was a rumour a couple of days ago, Jeremy Cross in the Daily Star had released an article that said a Saudi consortium were looking at a £140 million takeover, along with two US consortiums. What does that mean? What does it? They'll have got wind that these might be parties that are having a look at what we're doing, but that's one of several parties. Darren Smith, who we know is close to the situation, has poured cold water on that and says it's very unlikely to happen. So again, it's a little bit, what we don't want to do is set up the expectations of the fan base, and then we're really disappointed when a takeover comes round and it's not the Saudis. You see what's happening at Man United, where it's Qatar or Jim Radcliffe. Jim Radcliffe was a lifelong Man U fan, by the way. But because they've got that carrot of Qatar, they all want the Qatar money. So if it's Radcliffe, then he's not going to have a chance. You know, he can't win him over anyway. So, because they could have had the Qatari money, I don't want us in a situation where fans view it that we could have had Saudi money when it were never really on the table. And then we end up with somebody who's just a millionaire rather than a super billionaire. Do you know what I mean? We've got to get behind whoever takes over. So we'll see what happens, but until there's anything concrete, then there's nothing to report at the minute, and you'll hear it here first anyway. And the place you're most likely to find it, if not on YouTube, which will remain our primary platform, we're not going anywhere, there'll be no change to the content, but I have been working my backside off for the last 3-4 days to get this up and running properly. And again, it's down to the support of the YouTube channel, particularly the Ramblers who support us, but everybody for subscribing. It's allowing us to grow, like I talk about most rambles. We've now got bladesramble.com up and running. And to say I'm proud of it, for somebody who's a complete novice, I don't know what I'm doing with setting up websites. I've watched that many YouTube tutorials. So I've learned this myself, and I've gone through all the steps, and I've built it from scratch. So this is bladesramble.com. If you go up here, you'll be able to see where all our socials are. At the top, obviously, Become a Rambler Today, but those are all our social media pages. If you come down here, you can click through to get through to YouTube. This takes you straight to our site, obviously, where you can go and subscribe if you've not already. It tells you I've got 1,000 followers, but I've got more than that. There you see Cami, which I know you're all familiar with this video by now, so I'll stop posting it in Ramble videos, I promise. And you can find it there. Another way to subscribe to us on the channel. You can tell that this will continue to be our main focus. There's a bit of an about page, some other topics we'll be touching on, and you can also get in touch with me direct. By putting your details in and whatever message you want to get through to us. And just finding out there how you found out about the ramble as well, that helps me out in terms of where we're touching and where we're managing to get others to join the ramble. You can go back to the home page. If you look at the ramble, this tells you a little bit about me and just how the ramble came to be, a bit of my history and following the Blades and what have you. I talked earlier about Blades contracts. This is a full list of contracts for the first team players, and you'll see some quite startling numbers in there. And if they're confirmed, I tell you whether I've been able to confirm them or not. So some I were able to get confirmation on, others I wasn't. We've now got a merch site, which I'm really excited about. All new merchandise with new logos. I've managed to get the prices really as low as I can go. I'm not making much on them, if I'm honest. I'm trying to focus more on the branding, if you like. You can have them in several colours, as you can see. And I'm really excited about some of these ranges. I've been through it all personally and helped design everything that's on here. Some bits you'll think are not for you, but others, I think there's some really nice gear on here, if I'm honest. Even stuff for your kids, look. There's another way to contact the ramble. Same link as the other one really, but just a different way to get in. We've now got a forum. Now, I love the idea of a forum where people can come and just openly discuss their opinion on things. But what I'm keen to do is make sure it's not, and I've put a little message in here to start us off, that it's not a negative place. What I want is to just be able to respect each other's opinions. So if you want to come and sign up to the forum, we'll try and get a bit of a community going on there. If you click on the ramble on YouTube, you'll see that this is still my main focus. It's a direct link to us, and I'm hoping that a feed will come straight through. And that's also another way that you can subscribe to the channel, because that's what we're about. So yeah, bladesramble.com. I told you we're growing, and it's all thanks to you and your support. I cannot thank you enough. For those of you that aren't subscribed, please do. It's not much to you, but if you're enjoying this content, then it really does help me out. Also, like the video, comment on the video, share it with your friends, and if you want to become a Rambler, it's $2.99 a month. You'll get this video before everybody else. We're also, as we build that community, we're looking at Ramblers only exclusive videos, so direct content just for you guys. Thanks to everybody for watching. Let me know what you think. Do you think Gilliman will sign a new deal? Am I just being a negative Nelly? Do you think we've got half a chance? I'm telling you we haven't, but that's just my opinion. George, would you cash in on him while he's at peak value because we've got Bogle in reserve? I wouldn't. But that, again, my opinion. What do you think? Would you think it's a loss for the four lads that we're struggling to get over the line of the existing squad? Wes, Jackie Longthrow, Flecky and Ozzy, would they be a loss if they all walked out the door? I tend to think yes, but just because of numbers, and that shouldn't be a primary reason to keep players. Let me know. Let me know down below. Like, comment and subscribe. Come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blade.